Hi, and welcome to the Week 7 weigh-in. Has the scale been kind? Has it been cruel? We're going to find out. Since this is the first video that I'm doing of its kind, I would need to clear a few things up first. So I call it a weekly weigh-in, but it's more than that. It's not just about taking a single point of data and extrapolating information from that, although that is part of it. What I like to do is kind of look at things as a whole. That way you're getting a broader picture and can adjust accordingly or celebrate accordingly. So let's start with the weigh-in. There are different schools of thought for this. Some people say do it daily. Some people say do it weekly. Some people say do it monthly. Some people say don't do it at all. And whatever works for you works for you. This is just my method, so this isn't me saying this is the only way to do it. But what I do is I do daily weigh-ins, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it gets me used to the ups and downs that are normal for weight behavior. So daily it will change, go up or go down, sometimes stay the same. So that gets me a bit more accustomed to it. I've been trying to lose weight for 20 years, and one of the biggest things that was always sort of a setback to me, or kind of a punch in the gut, was hitting those walls, hitting those plateaus. So seeing daily data sort of softens that blow a little bit. It gives you a bit more insight as to what's really happening, and you get more accustomed to those daily fluctuations. Secondly, it's arguably more accurate. The reason being is because instead of taking just 1 point of time throughout the week, you're taking 7, and then you're averaging it. So say, for instance, 1 week, I step on the scale and I hadn't eaten much that day, or I was dehydrated, or a number of other reasons, and my weight was low. And then the next week, I step on the scale at the same time on the same day of the week, and I had just finished drinking a liter of water, or the night before I had eaten more salt and my body was retaining more and more fluids. 100 different reasons. But then what those single points of data that you get is that it says, okay, you're X weight on week 1, and then on week 2 you've barely changed, or you've maybe even gone up. So it's not giving you the whole story. So that's why I like to do daily and then take the average. So why are we starting with week 7? Well, that's a good question. It's because I have been doing it for a while and I hadn't started these videos yet. So we're kind of picking up 7 weeks after I started my real push. Now, I want to be clear too that the push started around May 2nd. That obviously wasn't the start of it all, but it was the start of putting everything together and doing this big push. And I've been maintaining that for 7 weeks now. So this is the week 7 update. Prior to that, in other videos, I'd mentioned that at my peak I was 475 pounds. So to be fair, when I started 7 weeks ago, I was 425 pounds. That's sort of where this part of the journey sort of started. So I was 425 pounds 7 weeks ago. Last week, I was 494.4 pounds. No, no, that is incorrect. Last week, I was 394.4 pounds. And then this week, the number is, drumroll, 389.4. So I've lost 5 pounds even this week, which is good. It means it's working. So 5 pounds, I'm happy with that. It's steady progress, and I'm definitely building more muscle underneath. I still have a lot of fat to get through, but I'm feeling the change. And this week was a good solid week at 5 pounds. Now, let's talk a little bit about NSVs, non-scale victories. So this week there were a couple of things. The two that I want to mention that really affected me the most. There's three, but two are directly related. One was that I started noticing more definition in my shoulders. Um, they just have more definition now. They were a lot more pudgy and rounded, and now I'm actually seeing a little bit of sculpting. There's still a lot of fat on my lower body to go through, and still some upper body as well, obviously. But I'm really starting to see the definition in this area and in my arms as well too, which is encouraging. So it means we're on the right track. So that was NSV number one. That's not related to the scale. Number two was I was doing laundry the other day, and we have a front loading washer and dryer. And for as far back as I can remember, I had a very difficult time reaching into the back of it. So once the load was done, I would have to bend over, and those clothes that get stuck at the back of the washer or dryer, you have to like really reach far in, and that's really hard when you have a massive amount of fat on your belly, on your front. Just sort of bending over and getting into that position is very difficult, and I can't get on my knees. I still can't get on my knees because it's just a massive amount of weight to put on your knees, and it hurts like the dickens. So I wasn't able to do that. But this week my NSV was I was able to reach the back of the washer with no problems, and it was awesome. I'm like, wow, we've made some good progress. So that was a good one too. The third one is more related to clothing. As you can see, this shirt and probably the other shirts I'm wearing in other videos is a little bit loose. Even if you do up the top button, um, my neck was never that big, but it's still, I have to buy a certain size because other sizes don't fit me. But this week, actually, for a couple weeks now, I have sized down. I can wear smaller clothing. So I have a few. This is a 6X. I have a few that are 5Xs, which I wear. They're really old, though. I haven't been as light as I am now. I haven't been this weight since 2019. So anything that I have that does fit more appropriately is 7 years old. With various amounts of wear and tear and style. Hey, as a heavy person, it's hard to stay in style anyway, so I don't worry too much about that. I'm looking forward to when I can. But yeah, so I was able to size down in the past couple of weeks, which is great. So there it is. There's my scale and my non-scale victories for the week. As these weeks progress, I'm probably going to get a little bit more detailed into things like what I've been eating and hitting my macros and all of that. I don't want to do it in this video only because I sort of want to set things up first. Like I want to do a very specific video on my regimen, what I am doing specifically in terms of food and exercise and everything else that's contributing. But this week or this whole trip, these whole 7 weeks have been a big NSV in themselves too. I've been working with a trainer. His name is Matt. He's been freaking phenomenal. Very, very supportive from the get-go. Very encouraging, and he's gotten to know me, so he knows my limitations, but he also knows that I can also benefit from some pushes. From some pushing. So he's very good at balancing that. And the key has been consistency for me, going in regularly. I go to the gym 6 days a week. We'll get into more details later. And that sounds daunting. I know it does because when I was at the start of it, I'm like 6 days. But we'll get into all that story later. The next portion, I thought what would be kind of fun is if we could start measuring progress, start like a visual way, not just on me visually, but just something to sort of give kind of an image of how things are progressing. So what I did is I went out and I got a jigsaw puzzle, and it's a 200-piece jigsaw puzzle, and that kind of represents the amount of weight that I wanted to lose from from May 2nd. I wanted to lose 200 pounds and get around the 200-pound mark. Again, that is sort of a flexible goal. I don't like to put a solid number on the exact amount of pounds that I want to lose, because truth is, I don't know. I know where I sort of want to be with my physical makeup um, and my activity and my mobility. I know that, um, but when it comes to exact pounds, I don't know. I'm putting it in the ballpark of 200 pounds. And what we're going to do every week with the puzzle is, for the amount of weight that I've lost, we're going to put in a piece of the puzzle. So if I lose 1 pound, I'll put 1 pound in the puzzle. If I lose 5 pounds, I'll put 5 pounds into the puzzle. Now, however, since we are at, what did I say, 389.4 this week, um, I'm going to do 11 pieces ahead of time. So the puzzle doesn't start off clean, but it makes up for those 11 pounds, so we're not stuck with them at the end. So let's get started on that. Although this is only 200 pieces, the last one I did was very difficult. So if these end up being like 7-hour videos, I apologize. I'll try and cut that down. This channel isn't really about puzzles, but I guess in a way it is. The puzzle of life, the puzzle of self-improvement, the puzzle of trying to become a better person. I think that's worthy of stating too. When I say that I want to become a better person, yeah, that partially means physically, but it doesn't mean I think I'm a bad person because I'm morbidly obese. It's actually part of the journey. Part of the journey for me is to become a better person. And I think that journey never ends. I think we all have room to grow, and self-reflecting on that is an important part of the journey. Because what it sort of forces you to do is it forces you to become, well, it forces you to self-reflect. It forces you to become self-aware. And in reality, I don't believe that weight loss precisely is going to be incredibly successful unless you have that ability to look at yourself honestly. Now, notice I didn't say critically. Yes, looking at yourself critically is important, particularly for different elements of self-improvement. But when it comes to weight loss, I think most of us are already pretty critical of ourselves, maybe more so than we need to be. So again, this brings it back to balance, right? It's about balancing that. So we have, like, look at these pieces. There's, I'll take a better one, but like, see, these are cool because they're in little, I'll turn it around for you. They're in little shapes, like unique shapes of actually identifiable things. So building the puzzle around that, it's just cool. It's just a lot of fun. They're kind of difficult too. Anyway, as I was saying, so we have, we do have a tendency to be a little bit too self-critical of ourselves when we have weight to lose. And I think that's understandable because we see sort of a filtered view of the world around us. Like, you must be this shape, or you must be like this. And it's not just the physical, although the physical is largely that, but it happens with a lot of other things too. As an example, I don't experience this, but very often anyway. But I know some people do. Is the pressure to get married, for example? It's like, you're X age, why aren't you married? You should find yourself a good girlfriend, or you should find yourself a good boyfriend. And for some people, that's fine. But pushing anybody into your opinion of what is normal and how they live their lives, I just don't think we have the insight to be able to do that. We don't know what these people feel. We don't know what they are going through. Most of the time, we don't know their past or their story. And fitting everybody into the same mold is a very dangerous thing to do, because it's just not healthy. It's just not something that can be maintained or should be sought after. But kind of as humans go, we also have that need to belong. I say it a lot, but we have that need to be seen. And sometimes it feels like the best way to do that is to be the person that we think we're supposed to be, instead of being the person that we are. And that's problematic. When what's this? Is this a little? Ooh, it's a little tiny piece of wood that I don't know if it. I'm gonna put it in the box because it looks like it just broke off of something, or I don't know if I'm gonna need it. I don't want to finish this and have a gaping hole, or even a tiny hole. That sort of thing really bugs me. Just finish, because this is going to take a long time, right? I'm not going to lose 200 pounds in a week. So we're going to be doing this puzzle for a long time, and I don't want to get to the end of it and have this little tiny hole in it, because that would just drive me insane. Anyway, as I was saying, they need to be seen. I sent these. I guess I need to clarify something else too before I get into the story. In my how I reached a 475-pound video, I talked about my family, and how we were separated when I was 17 years old. I want to do a follow up on that, because my family has and I have rebuilt quite a bit very recently, like within the past 3 to 5 years or so. Some of their beliefs have relaxed a little bit with the ages, so that's afforded us the opportunity to be able to speak again, and it's been incredible, really. So anyway, going back to the ICU point, I sent my first video to my brother, and he's like, "That's such a powerful message," and I told him, I'm like, "I got that from you," because he had been in Haiti for 20 years or so, and he was telling me that one of the ways that he de-escalates conversations, or tries to show respect to people, so it can open up a conversation, is by saying, but there's a word in Haiti, and I wish I had it on in Creole. I wish I had it, and I've forgotten it, but it essentially translates to "I see you," and I think that's such a powerful message, because we do need to be seen. All of us need to be seen. So you'll hear that theme come up in this video, or not in this video, in this channel. Well, this video too. I don't know where to get started with. This is, I might have bitten off more than I can chew with this puzzle, because I remember the edges are not flat, and well, I remember I'm looking at it now. The edges are not flat, so you can't even start with the edges. So you just kind of have to, I guess, sort of sort by color and sort of go from there. So I don't know. I also have this reflection off from the lighting, so that doesn't help. This is going to take a long time. I did not think this through, but we'll get started. What's going to be the easiest way to do this? Oh goodness, it's so overwhelming. But that's like a weight loss journey. It's overwhelming to get started. Okay, I know what piece this is. I don't know what I was talking about. Okay, so we found one piece. So two pieces go together. We just need to. Okay. I feel like this one goes right here. See, we're making progress. See, it's such a cool metaphor for losing weight, because you got to start somewhere, right? It's overwhelming, but you just start. I was watching. I sometimes pull up this video that's kind of motivational, and that's part of it. It's like we make excuses. It's like I don't know where to start. I'm and it's just like, just start. Now I'm losing pieces on my elbow. Just start. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with the puzzle. That's what we're doing with my life. We're just starting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this is going by quickly. But to be fair, I'm doing a very easy part now, I feel. But that too is a good technique. Just start somewhere easy. That was a large part of it. Was I don't think this is going to fit anywhere, is it? No. That was a large part of the decisions that I made to when I really wanted to make a difference. Is I didn't want to be overwhelmed, so I'm like, let's start with something easy. And I've done that a lot, and that always is successful to that point. Just start with something easy. Don't overwhelm yourself. Okay, now it's going to get more complicated because this moon is done. Boo. All right. The other thing I hadn't considered is how tricky it's going to be to multitask this. Because this puzzle, it's not really that simple, and talking throughout it while trying to build it is going to slow me down. But hey, at least we're not going to have more than like 5 pieces a week to do, except for this week, which is going to be much longer. I might have to split this up into a whole separate video. I have no idea. Does that fit? No. It looks like it's gonna. Well, maybe it does. No, it really doesn't. Give up that dream. I would ask for your help, but here's the thing. This is not a live stream, so if I get really, really stuck, maybe I'll ask for your help and put them in the comments or something, then you can tell me what to do next week. No, well, yeah, maybe we'll do. I don't know. Feel free to do that. It's not going to hurt. I'll just make that video shorter next week, which maybe is what we want. I'm going to start splitting these up a little bit just in terms of color, because I know that like these two pieces, for example, you can tell that they're part of the same area. I just don't know. Yeah, yeah. So maybe I'll just like reorganize. See this one's part of it too. Oh, look at that. So I'm going to try and stay within the same area. I don't want to get make 100 different areas, which I would normally do in a puzzle. I would, just start putting pieces together that look like they fit regardless of what area I'm currently working on. And that's probably the more intelligent way to do a puzzle. But just for the sake of this content, and I think it makes more sense because I want to see it slowly come together. I don't know. I don't know. I might change my mind. We'll see how frustrating this kind of stuff gets. Oh, I think we're getting. Oh yeah, look at that. So how many pieces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're getting there. 9 pieces. Is this ready to? Yeah, this connects right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Simply wonderful. All right. This looks like it. No. I know this fits around here somewhere. It might be too early though. And this one, I probably already tried. Yeah, I tried messing with that. This is so close. Oops. Oh, look at this. Yeah, I could have just slid the cloth around too instead of moving the whole camera. But hey, hindsight is 2020, or in my case, like 620. That's the thing. It's when you fumble, when you stumble, when you make mistakes, the value in that is to learn a lesson. So you don't, so you grow. You know. The unfortunate part of that, though, is that isn't always how it happens. I've made lots of mistakes that I've repeated. And you just, I guess, just over time, you try to minimize that, because at that point it feels like a waste of time. It's a double slap in the face, because you made the mistake once, and you're like, okay, I learned from that, and then you do it again, and then you're like, okay, I apparently didn't learn from that. So this is sort of, like I said, I'm going to make a separate video about my strategy, but that was deeply involved. That was a deep component of it as well. Is making the mistakes over 20 years of trying to lose weight eventually led me. Oh, look at this! Eventually led me to a point where I knew what worked for me and what didn't work for me. And so this last time, this most recent time, this has to fit in here. What's going on? I know you fit. You have to. There you go. So this most recent time, I declared war. I was telling my friends, I'm like, this is war. And I took everything that I had learned, everything I knew that worked for me, important distinction for me, because not everything works for everyone. And I just threw everything at it. And so far, we've had 7 weeks of success. So I think we're doing something right. So where are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, one more piece for the... Wait a second. I've overdone it, right? Because what was my average? Is 389, right? Yeah, I've overshot. Well, I'm not going to take a piece apart, but I think that's it. So hey, look, that wasn't too bad. It was it was like really much longer than I thought, but that's not bad. So we will resume this next week. Maybe we'll add another 5 pieces or whatnot, but we will let the scale average determine that. In the meantime, thank you again for watching. I really appreciate you coming and checking things out, and listening to my stories, which tend to drag on. But I just want to close with share your stories too. I see you. Thanks, everybody.